All right, welcome everyone. Very, very excited to be here today. As always, doing Zoom just appears to be the new normal. I can see a lot of friendly faces. Welcome everyone. John, Mary, Patricia, Joseph, Susan, Richard, David, William, welcome everyone. I can't read everyone's name, so those of you that are joining us, I very much appreciate you dedicating your time for us this afternoon. I know there's a lot of things you could be doing, and I hope that we deliver some value for you today. I will just give people a few moments to drop in on Zoom. Sit yourself down, turn your phone on silent. We will go for probably 30, potentially 40 minutes, depending on how far the questions go. So hopefully you've set aside the time today and you're ready to go. The Q&A is open now, so feel free to start dropping in all of your questions. I do have a number of team members who are joining us on the Zoom today. They'll be answering all of your questions in the Q&A as well, and obviously putting forward any questions that are relevant or keep getting asked for us to answer live. Just remember, if you've got a personal question very specific to you, just because of privacy, we won't be answering that live, but don't stress. One of the guys will answer it for you through the Q&A now. If we don't get to your question, we will circle back to you after today's finish. We'll get the transcript and let you know. So don't worry if we don't get to your questions. No one will be left behind today. So hopefully that should be enough. I can see, it looks like we're getting close to the maximum number. So there must be enough people dropping in. If you do drop out and we run short on numbers, this is on Facebook, so you can also jump on there and watch it as well. So if you've got any friends who are trying to jump on and we max out the numbers, just let them know it's live on Facebook now as well. So if I go off the rails, someone wave their hand wildly, or I'm sure someone will pop something up on my screen and let me know. I will try to keep it tight and not go too much over time at all. And hopefully today will be very informative for all of you. So those of you that I haven't met before, my name is James Maitland. I'm the General Manager here at Salvo. I'll be hosting this today, and very shortly I'll bring you on Mr. Malcolm Dingle as well to be answering all of your questions. So in case you weren't quite sure what this is all about, you've just jumped on, or you haven't been reading the latest news and updates that I've been sending to you, I thought I'd sort of just recap. The reason we're here today is that in June 2021, so about 3 to 4 months ago, Salvo Property Group and Dingle Partners finalised a purchase and partnership agreement. Now, that's some big fancy words. What does that mean for you? Well, really simple. Salvo Real Estate, your property manager, your real estate agent, merged and has now become part of Dingle Partners. In turn, Salvo Property Group is now a part owner of Dingle Partners. So effectively what that does is it allows us to have a much bigger platform, continue to deliver the service and the great sort of experience that you've had with us, but really be able to do it in a bigger and more meaningful way for you. So there's probably 2 questions that people keep asking me time and time again. So I thought I'd just touch on those now just before we get stuck into it. The first one is, why did we do that? Well, the reason we did it is, we're great in Melbourne, we're great in South Bank, we've got a great team of local experts, but I wanted to be able to expand that platform because a lot of people have said to me, listen, I've got some properties in Carlton, I've got some stuff in Richmond, and I love doing it, but I'd really like you guys to have a presence on the ground because it makes me feel a little bit better. So we could have grown that organically, but what I think is much better is to be able to get an existing platform that brings a wealth of experience, put the 2 together and really leverage that. And I believe that is how we can deliver the best value for you. The second question is this a good thing? Well, hell yeah, it's a good thing. It's great for both our businesses, but most importantly for you, our customers, I think this is fantastic. As I said, you're going to get all of the experience from both our businesses combined, and hopefully we're going to be able to just continue to deliver on that service. And potentially, when I run through some of the things we're going to be doing in the future, add some more services you hadn't otherwise thought about getting and delivered from us. So change is difficult for most people though. I know me, I don't like change. Most of you don't like change. It's a bit confronting. So before we get into it, I thought I'd just start with what is changing and what's not changing. So what's not changing first? Well, Salvo's not quitting property management. Quite the contrary, we're actually doubling down. As I said, this is part of a plan to be able to deliver more to you, our customers, and to be able to have more experience and have the team on the ground. So myself and one of my colleagues, Mr. Colin McKenzie, have joined the board of Dingle Partners with Mr. Malcolm Dingle and some of his key staff. So we're really excited being able to help drive that vision, continue to sort of follow through with the plan that we've always had for Salvo Real Estate and do it in a bigger, better, and hopefully more valuable way for you. The Salvo team is going to continue. So everyone you're used to dealing with, your property managers, nothing changes. They're all continuing on just now as the new South Bank office. And lastly, those of you that have come through the Salvo experience, whether you've brought a property from us, you've come through the finance, however it is that you've come to know us, our customer care team that you're used to dealing with will continue. So it's important, I think, that everyone understands that whilst you might see a different name, a few different colours and logos, I'm actually using the Dingle colours in today's presentation just to sort of get you used to it. Might look a little bit different. We're still one. We're all there. No matter who it is that you're used to talking to, they can still help you. And if they're not the right person, they can put you in touch. You don't have to stress about being run around to the wrong person. So there's some of the great things that are not changing. What is changing? Well, the first and most obvious one is that Salvo Real Estate will become known as Dingle Partners South Bank. You're going to slowly see those changes coming through. We're going to be upgrading to a new management system. That's exciting. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Some of you have probably already received some emails on that. And Malcolm's going to give us a bit of insight into what that means for you. Expanding the team. As I said, this is one of the drivers to have now 5 offices that we can leverage from and launch those services and deliver for you, as well as having an expanded sales team. So no matter where you are in that journey, that will help you deliver on your goals and really manage your investment property to the best that it can. So that's where we are today. That's what's happened. What are we going to cover in today's session? As I said, hopefully we'll get you out of here just after 4:30. If you do have to go early, I will make a recording of this. So don't stress too much. I'll circulate that around. Whether I get it out tonight or in the morning will just depend as to where we finish and how hot and stressed you put me with your questions. First up, I just want to give a little bit of introduction to Dingle Partners. Some of you I know Dingle Partners. They've been around for a long time. Some of you don't know a lot about it. So I thought I've just collated some questions to give you a quick summary into who Dingle Partners is. Then we're going to be getting into the meat and potatoes section of today's session, answering all of your questions about what it means for you. As I said, the Q&A is open. Jump in now. A couple of the team members are monitoring that and we'll be getting back to you straight away. And then lastly, I want to just wrap up with a little bit of the vision for the future and what you can expect from us over the sort of medium to long term as well. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my friend and now new business partner, Mr. Malcolm Dingle, to come and give us a little bit of insight into who Dingle is. So Malcolm, do you want to join us?
Thank you, James. It's nice to be here and hello, everybody. It's very nice to see you. I can't see everybody on the screen as well as you did, James, but it's a pleasure to be here.
It's very different to, I guess, what you might be used to over your career, calling an auction with a big crowded area. Now we're just staring at 2 computer screens, but this is the new world that we're in. So Malcolm, I thought, obviously to me, your business has been an institution in Melbourne. I've known it for a long time. I've worked with you over the years for a long period of time, but perhaps you could sort of give some insight into people. How long have you sort of been in business? How did you get started?
Thank you, James. Yes, we started in 1973, so it's nearly 50 years ago.
That was for everyone. That was before I was born.
A long time ago. And we started in country Victoria and came to Melbourne in about 1978. And we've developed our business over that time in the Melbourne area. And when the apartment market started in the city, that is the postcode 3000 initially, we decided to come into the city and work on the sale of apartments in new buildings. And as a consequence, we've been heavily involved in that ever since. And it's worked remarkably well. And
I think, Malcolm, you're downplaying it. You'll find many people that know the CBD market will know that pretty much Malcolm Dingle started that postcode 3000 with inner city living. So, big achievement. You've obviously been through a lot of market cycles. Some of us have just been through 1, 2. You've been through a number. What have been 1 or 2 of the biggest challenges you found and how you found that that's made you a better, stronger sort of person?
Well, I suppose the starting point for that was that it was hard to get people interested in buying an apartment initially off the plan in Melbourne. That took a little bit of doing, but once it got going, it really moved along remarkably well until, of course, we came into a situation where we had an economy with difficulty in relation to the oversupply of apartments and finance problems. So we went through a big trough, and of course we had to knuckle down to handle that and get through it. And we had backing from a lot of our landlord clients who hung in and in fact increased the size of their portfolios. So that was a major setback. That was in the late 80s when things, of course, weren't travelling too well in the economy. In the meantime, of course, we've got back on track, and of course the apartment market in South Bank, CBD, Carlton has grown substantially, and we've been a big part of that.
So, you just mentioned before, it'd be good to, I mentioned you've got many branch offices. Where are they located? And, you've got a big team there as well, I think.
Yes, our primary office is in the CBD in Queen Street, and we've been in the CBD now for some considerable time. We then went to St Kilda Road because the development along St Kilda Road was substantial. And we're in Richmond now because the development down there is also increasing in a substantial way. Carlton, of course, with the student market connecting with the university and RMIT, that's been a good marketplace for us as well. So we're keen to be back into South Bank. We were in South Bank for a while, as you know, and we moved out of South Bank and consolidated into St Kilda Road now probably 10 years ago.
So, that's a big office network. Often for me, when I look at things, I find someone like you who's got that wealth of experience, but I get worried, is it just all about you? You must have, key people in all these offices, and, whilst you're the namesake, you've got a great team around you that have been there for, I think some of them were telling me they've been with you for more than 20 years.
That's true. In fact, I've got about 8 of our staff who have been with us for in excess of 15 years. 6 of them, I think, have been with me over 20 years. And then we've got a 10-year club where I think we've got about 13 or 14 people in our 10-year club. So we have a really good, well-structured organisation with a good team of people who have been there for some time. So they're not going to disappear tomorrow. They'll be around for some time to come.
Yeah. And I think for those of you that sort of know that's one of the key things to look at a business, how long have the staff been there? I was really, really happy to see, when I joined Malcolm at his end of financial year party and talking to a lot of the staff who said to me, look, Malcolm sort of trained me. I started here. I was with him for 5 or 10 years. I then, went out, tried something different, and then they were back there again. And that's a testament to what you've built. And I think that's a fantastic job.
That's a good point. I think we've got about 6 or 7 people who've been with us, gone away, and then come back.
Yeah. And I guess it makes it easy with email addresses, doesn't it? You just reactivate it again.
It certainly does.
So lastly, just before we move through, people will look at you and think that you look just as young as me. You've obviously been around for a little bit longer, as you mentioned.
I've been dyeing my hair grey for some time.
Yes, right. Well, I just tried to get rid of the grey just before today's session. So, how involved are you in the business? Because obviously you're key to driving it. Are you out playing golf all the time, or where are you? No,
I still very much enjoy being in the office. I still work 6 days a week. We are reorganising the business so that it's less dependent on me day by day, and hopefully with the involvement with you and the Salvo Group, we'll improve on that so that I can slow down and hand over to other very capable people.
Good. For anyone young on the line today, the key thing you just heard Malcolm talk about is 6 days a week. I know everyone's looking to do a 2-day week, a 3-day week, but that is him. One of the things I love about joining with Malcolm is every Saturday afternoon, when he's wrapped up all the auctions, wrapped everything up, he gives me a call. This is what we've done. This is where we've gone. And it's really, really good to see you, still hands-on and driving that team, because I think, the young guys need that guidance as well as some of the older guys like to, feed off each other's energy. So that's great.
The excitement of a Saturday auction is terrific. It keeps everybody going. In fact, last Saturday, we had a very successful auction in East Melbourne, and it was that successful, the underbidder came along and bought another property later on in the afternoon. So those sorts of things keep everybody interested and excited.
Good. All right. So let's leave it there about Dingle Partners. I've seen a lot of questions coming through just in terms of what does this mean for people. And I've seen we've also had a few questions come up. So Malcolm, I'll throw a couple to you. I'll try and answer some, and we'll try and go rapid fire through this as quickly as we can. A few people have been asking me, and I've seen a few questions coming up here saying, do I need to sign a new management agreement? what if I'm not sure about Dingle? Do people need to sign a new management agreement, or
No,
how does that go?
absolutely not. That was part of the, or a very good part of the arrangement. We actually took over the company of, or we merged the companies together. Salvo Real Estate is now owned by Dingle Partners in conjunction with Salvo. So all of the authorities that were in place initially with the Salvo Real Estate company are still, in fact, valid. They still apply. And all that's happened is that we've changed the name of the company.
Yeah. So no one needs to do anything. Nothing changes. And,
No.
and those of you that were worried saying, oh, I've got to print paper. What about this? There's absolutely nothing to do there. Another question here I've seen coming in from Barb here was saying, what about my property manager? Is that changing, or, perhaps you want to answer?
Depends on where Barb's property in, but no, essentially we'll be keeping all of the properties that are in the South Bank portfolio in the South Bank office. If it's a property that makes sense to be handled out of Carlton, we may consider that later. But a lot of the work of management revolves around the relationship with the property manager. So in most respects, we prefer to keep the property manager relationship and the client relationship together, even if it means that the property is not necessarily in the backyard of the office concern.
And I think you were explaining to me that having this reach, it doesn't really matter where the property manager is based, and that people with a big number of properties like to have one person, because the people that are doing the leasing usually work out of that office. They've got their finger on the pulse. They know the rents. And that works really well, doesn't it?
It does. It works really well. But in addition to that, we've got a leasing person in each office, so they all overlap. We don't particularly have territorial arrangements between offices, so they all work together in many ways, even though they're located separately.
Okay, good. Someone's asked here about the software. When's it happening?
Good question. Yeah, we hope the cutover will be on the 1st of November, and we've been doing some training on that today with the team, and the emails that have been going out to most of your owners, of course, to make you aware of what's happening. And as I said, cutover hopefully on the 1st of November. So
I think too, for people that don't realise, you've sort of taken the whole business and the rest of your branches through this process over the last 3-4 months. So you've really ironed out a lot of those teething problems, and all of these landlords should be able to get the best of it without having to go through these teething problems at all.
I hope that's right.
Have I stitched you up now, have I?
No, you haven't stitched me up, but with technology we're finding all of the time, there are little glitches along the way. Our old property management system worked relatively well, and we've been on it for over 20 years. So that provider of software wasn't keeping up with what's happening in the technology area at the moment. So we felt we had to change, and it's proven to be, particularly good. It's a largely automated system. It keeps the property managers in touch with what's going on each property on a very easy basis. Everything's on their computer screen. So it's worked really well. The first month we had some teething problems. The second month we had less teething problems, and we're now into our 4th month. So by the time we get to the 1st of November, hopefully all the teething problems will have gone.
There you go. I mean, I think if ever there was a time to have, a sort of a more automated online system, apps for iPhones and so forth is now, as we've experienced through the last 18 to 24 months with people working from home, different stuff. It's great to have that constant connectivity.
Oh, yes. In the new software, the landlords have got an app, the tenants have got an app, the property managers have an app. So we're a mobile society, and owners and tenants are out and about all the time. They can really get all of the information they need about their property from their mobile phone.
And I think that was important what you said about tenants, because I know often people say, landlords, I don't care about the tenant, what about me? But tenants are just as important customer, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are paying the landlord's mortgages. So giving them a better experience, easier ways to pay the rent has got to be helpful in the long run, doesn't it? It
helps enormously. And of course, with the current legislation in Victoria, the tenants have got a lot of say in relation to how the property is presented and available to them, and they have a big say. So we work with them to make sure they're well looked after. And of course, looking after the tenant means we're looking after the asset of the owner.
Okay, great. I saw another question here. I'll answer it. Maybe you came in late. It just says, why is Salvo quitting the property management business? As I said, we're not. We're actually doubling down, and that's why I'm so excited about it. And for those of you that I've been chatting to, this is really, I guess, something that you and I have been talking about for probably 12 months. doing this. We've been talking on and off for years. So this is really, really exciting. You know, both for Malcolm was excited about it. I was excited about it. Everyone in both organisations are really looking forward to it. So, you know, I think we can deliver some great added value to everyone, as both of us do. Okay, so just conscious of time there. My team on the line, are there any other questions that you think I haven't covered off? We'll just give them a moment to pop up if I think there's anything. All right, if any of you have still got more questions we haven't answered, drop it in the Q&A. I want to just talk a little bit about the future and what people can expect in the more medium to long term from this new business partnership, and hopefully how we can continue to help you grow your wealth and manage your investment property to the best we can. And I will just check back right at the end if there are any more questions that the team thinks we should answer. So, Malcolm, I thought it'd be really interesting. You know, it's very hard when people say, you know, tell me about what's going to happen in the future. But we were talking about the software, and obviously technology is a key thing in today's, you know, business world. But for a lot of people, they probably don't realise that you know, you're the founder, you're the CEO of Dingle Partners, but you're also one of the biggest customers. Being a landlord yourself, you've got a number of properties there, as do I and some of the other staff. And I thought it'd be good if you could maybe share an experience for people as to, you know, what's really sort of, you know, blown your mind as to how the software is doing something different, or where you think people are actually going to see something different and better for them as a landlord.
Well, I think the automation part of it, James, is where this really comes into a situation of presenting very, very good activation for both the landlords and the tenants. The tenants get a reminder when their rent is due, automatic, and we don't need to send it out. It just comes straight out from the system. So the chances of the tenant not having the money in the bank account when we draw the money from their bank account is pretty slim. So our arrears problems will hopefully disappear. We'll work with our tenants, and the tenants have got options. We like them to keep paying monthly in advance. However, with this system, they can elect, if they're running a bit short of money, to pay 1 week's rent rather than a month's rent if they wish to, or two. Now, that facility was never available before, but it's certainly available now, and that helps the tenancy situation. And from an owner's point of view, the money comes through rapidly. As soon as the money is cleared from the bank, it goes straight to the owner's bank account, and of course, then the statement follows on from there. So the automation and the work that it does for the property manager is amazing. And on the property manager's screen every day, there's a list of what's needed to be done. So all things being equal, we should be right on top of the management from day one.
And I think that's important. You know, a lot of people say to me, that's great, but that's good for you as a business. But what it does importantly is it frees up the property managers, I guess, to actually get out there, you know, deal with problems that are there, or be a bit more proactive, which, you know, is what we're all about, and sort of, you know, proactively trying to get in front of things rather than just reacting. That does it, doesn't it?
Oh, and more than that, it enables the property manager or the customer service managers to spend more time looking after the client, keeping all the communications going, and that's so vital today. You know, passing on information and being able to keep in contact with people.
Yeah, and landlords have an app as well that they can get onto their phone.
Separate. The tenants and the landlords have got apps, but they're separate apps, obviously.
So, you know, for any of our landlords out there that you know, want to know everything, and dare I say, a sort of control freaks that want to know everything immediately, they've got access at their fingertips. Yep. You know, if they can't sleep at night, they can jump in and have a look.
It's live. It's live. It provides information, details in relation to leases, details in relation to rent reviews, details in relation to arrears if there are any, and of course, you've got access straight from the app to the property manager.
Okay, great. So one last thing before we move on from the software. Is there anything that the landlords need to do, or are you handling all this with a cutover? No,
basically we're handling everything. It's just a matter of the landlords becoming aware of what's happening. There might be some details in relation to account re-identification, but essentially it's all automated. Okay, great. So for most people, you should have already received an email from, it would have come from you directly, or from our property. And our property. In fact, sometimes some of the emails come from a company called Our Tradie, which is associated with our property. And the Our Tradie business looks after a lot of the maintenance for us. Okay, great. So do look out for it. I know I received it probably
a few days ago. It had my username and login, which is useful to get myself set up. Obviously, if you do log in, it's not live yet. As Malcolm said, we're not planning to cut over until next month. So don't stress if you can't see anything, but really, really excited for that. I know as a customer and a landlord, I'm excited to sort of move to that next experience. I don't think I'll ever log in too often to look at my stuff, but it's good to know that it's there.
Fantastic.
In there.
And the other thing I think in that respect, James, is if there are any questions that the owners have, please send an email to your property manager, give us the question, and we can go back and sort everything out if there's a few little glitches on the way.
Okay, great. Now, one of the things that I've been really quite excited about is, real estate is obviously something that, we always say you've got to invest in for the long term, and quite often we hear people say, I know I believe it, and I think you have done with many properties, you've sort of gone through that mentality of buy and hold forever. But things change. People have different circumstances. Perhaps they've got their own home, that we might not even be managing, but they might be living in that they want to upgrade or change. And, you've been doing this for so long, you know the market changes, the sales team that you built up around yourself is great. Perhaps you could give everyone a bit of an idea, of, a couple of deals you've done recently, or, talking about market share and the markets you've got a really deep understanding and breadth and the team.
In the inner suburbs, we've got quite a substantial market share, and it depends on the pocket that you're in. The CBD is one, and that's a marketplace which right now is suffering a little bit. As you know, the apartment market in the city has been very substantially impacted upon by the lack of university students coming in. That helps to drive the market up. So the CBD market's a bit slow, but there are some really good apartment sales taking place in the CBD. East Melbourne particularly, the one we did on Saturday, we were about 80,000 over the reserve. We sold for 930,000 on an 850 reserve. So there are still good examples of sales taking place in a strong marketplace, despite the overall apartment market being a bit soft.
And I think you got a call just before we came up here as well, another sale that went through.
Yes, in Queen's Road. And again, that's out of the St Kilda Road office, a very strong sale. And that was only on the market for 3 weeks. So the time on market is also important. And right now, of course, the time on market in some cases has extended out, but now the lockdown is over on the weekend. I hope.
Fingers crossed, everyone.
Yes, fingers crossed. We'll get back to some good activity where properties won't be on the market as long.
Yeah. So, anyone who's out there that's thinking of selling, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be a management customer. No, it doesn't have to be there. You'd love to just chat with them, find out, what they're doing and where they sit. And I think that, if anyone can deliver a result, it's definitely going to be you and your team, that anyone that's got a property, even if you don't want to list it with Dingle, you're happy to have a chat and give people some guidance. And
that's part of that's a big part of our business, giving people advice to help them along their way in the property market.
I think too, I've remembered being with you a few times, and you've got a call from someone who, you sold the property to 10 or 15 years ago, and they remember that being a great experience. They called you and said, "I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?" And I think that's a testament to the value and the experience that you must have provided through that sales process. That 15 years later, they still remember you and the first person they call.
That's amazing. You bring that up because we're about to list an apartment in South Bank, and I've been in touch with the client on and off over the years, but we last dealt with them 26 years ago in Brunswick. And
there you go.
Just a phone call, and the connection is reignited.
Yeah. So, I think that's great. Again, as I said to you, one of the things, how excited I was about it is you can't build that experience overnight. You don't get a 26-year relationship by starting business today. And that's some of the great sort of experience and breadth of knowledge that the Dingle Partners brings to the table. And I think that'd be really exciting for most of you out there when that time comes to really deliver. So lastly, before we wrap it up, Malcolm, we are here today. A lot of you own a property and are a landlord in a property in our new building, Palladium Tower. This is going to be the new Salvo head office will be based here. We're always planning on, as we moved into this office, opening up a separate office on the ground floor with a shop front for Salvo Real Estate, which will now be Dingle South Bank. That's pretty exciting. You brought that forward, and I think you've started fitting that out, and ready to launch as we sort of are allowed to get back
well, we're
on the
hopeful
ground?
that the carpet will go down and we'll be in play next week. But of course, tradespeople are a bit hard to get on with at the moment because they're restricted as well. But with a bit of a tailwind, we should be in the office within 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. And a tidbit for everyone out there, I thought it was just an anomaly, but, Malcolm might look like he's been around for a while, but you're in touch with what all the young kids want and everything. Everyone gets a stand-up desk, a standard in the new office, isn't it?
They do.
Yeah, good. The only problem is you've now started a revolution. The rest of the staff all want stand-up desks, but, hopefully in the new offices for both the Dingle South Bank and Salvo head office will have stand-up desks for whoever wants it. All right.
It's not just about stand-up desks, by the way.
Can you sleep underneath as well?
No, there'll be no sleeping.
Oh, good, good. No, look, and I think it's great. One of the things I've loved going around is seeing all your offices, and there's a great vibe in there, and everyone's sort of working together, and perhaps that's something that really feeds from people, that you've got people who've got a great depth of experience in one area in a different office. I've sort of joined some of your email lists, and the collaboration that occurs between all those offices is great. People just dropping by, and I think you would sort of explain to me that it's not, whilst you might have a main office that you're happy and welcome for staff to move around and meet their fellow people and get an experience.
Yes, and they can meet clients in respective offices. It's not, everyone's got a key to the front door of each office, so it's not a problem. And the camaraderie within our team is pretty substantial.
All right, great. So hopefully for those of you that do live locally, once you're allowed to come in, we'd love to meet with you. Obviously, I'd love to catch up with you again. Malcolm would love to meet with you. The rest of the wider team would love to meet with you. So, as soon as we can do that safely and have you in, we'll try and organise something so we can all meet face to face.
We might even have a function in here in this meeting
I think
room.
that's a perfect idea. I know the girls would love to set it up and have us both telling them what to do and get it going. So, no, that'd be really exciting. And hopefully, as soon as we can, we'd love to have everyone there. So before we go, obviously, I'd like to say thank you. We have kept it tight. I was worried because Malcolm likes to talk, I like to talk. We've only gone a few minutes over. So thank you very much for dedicating your time. Hopefully we've given you a little bit more insight and sort of shown you what to expect from us over the future. And for most of you that hadn't met Malcolm before, I think it was great that you could join us and really appreciate you giving us your time today. Also to everyone on the line, thank you very much there. For us, obviously we're all friends. We love being part of you, but it's not just about friends. We want to deliver the results. So, I truly believe that, this new business will continue to deliver what you've been enjoying from Salvo, and now as the new expanded Dingle Partners, that we will get better and, hopefully provide you more and more and more that you'll never ever want to leave, and you'll become one of those 26-year customers.
That'll be good.
I think a lot of you are probably 5 years down already with Salvo Real Estate, so 21 to go.
I look forward to it.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you again, Malcolm.
Pleasure.
And look forward to seeing all of you again. As I said, I will circulate around a recording, maybe tonight, if not tomorrow morning. So any of your friends or colleagues that missed out, I will share this so you can see it all again for your pleasure. So thank you very much from everyone, and see you soon.
Cheers.